Batman: The Long Halloween is a 13-part comic series written by Jeff Loeb and illustrated by Tim Sale, published between 1996 and 1997. The comic was adapted into 2 animated movies released in 2021, which did away with the comic's art style and most of its plot, along with its effectiveness. Well, at least part 1 did. Removing characters that were integral to the plot, changing the motivations of others, and the circumstances of the story. Could part 2 wind it back in? The short answer is no. The long answer is this video. Hello there, I'm Royce Pentaghast, and this is Compare the Pair on Batman: The Long Halloween, Part 2. Art is central to the medium of comics. You can have comics that are entirely illustrated, but you can't have comics that are entirely words. That's just a novel, unless you're clever about it. The art defines these characters and stories, and the artwork of the late great Tim Sale is unique, recognisable, and identifiable with this story. The Long Halloween animated films, however, are part of a film series called the Tomorrowverse, specifically the 3rd and 4th part of a 10-movie series. These films all carried the same art style, which means the art style that makes the Long Halloween comic what it is, isn't here for the film, which is a shame, and it misses the point and appeal of the Long Halloween. It's like adapting Sin City into animation and making it colour. I'd have to assume this Tomorrowverse series and the stories they wanted to tell in it was planned from the beginning, and if you knew you were going to adapt a stylistically distinct story as your 3rd entry, perhaps you could have accounted for that and designed the characters around that style, and hired a better concept artist. If not, why bother adapting that comic? And why do it during this series? I had a go at designing the animated characters to more closely resemble their comic counterparts, while taking into account the movie's basic animation. I'm not dismissing this movie's animators and their work. Animation is difficult and time-consuming. It's why I'm only drawing these characters and not animating them. Plus, I can imagine this team was working on a deadline and didn't have the luxury of putting in the time to animate some of the more expressive or dynamic elements of these characters, except for small bursts. So in drawing these, I tried to take into account that these would need to be drawn repeatedly, quickly and efficiently, just trying to resemble Tim Sale's work, without adding too much more to the workload. The first film only adapted 5 issues of the original comic, and looking to issue 6, you can see how it could be a pretty good point to start a part 2. It sees the introduction of Carmine Falcone's giant mobster daughter, Sophia, who goes on to appear throughout the rest of the story. She's shown to be monstrous with an incredible strength, but we get hints to her tenderness when she tries to give her father a tie on Father's Day. There's also the reveal she's in a secret relationship with her family's sworn enemy, Salvatore Maroni. Her first scene in the film is the Father's Day one, and with the reveal of her relationship to Sal coming shortly afterwards, it sets her up to be quite a different character, more of a gentle giant than the complex, fully rounded woman we see in the comic. The film opens with Bruce in a poison ivy hallucination, completely lost to the world, just as lost as viewers who missed part 1's post-credits scene. In the comic, Bruce is fully aware through this ordeal, but unable to fight it, and Catwoman saves the day. In the movie, Ivy's powers seem more extreme than in the comic. The character has seen an increase in power across other media since the comic's publishing. The comic continues to centre around holiday killings, while the movie breezes through them. The Riddler, who Carmine Falcone consults in identifying Holiday, is completely absent from the film, and the comic sees him targeted but spared by Holiday, appropriate for April Fool's Day. Some scenes are shifted, like the Scarecrow's escape on Mother's Day, reworked for Joker in movie 1. Scarecrow's inclusion is a little different. He no longer rhymes, sadly, and when Batman tackles him, he does so wearing a gas mask. There's a general belief held by the public that Batman is prepared for anything, often to ludicrous degrees. But this is a nice change, as the comic just saw him tackle Scarecrow, a villain who uses gas, and be surprised to be gassed. But Batman's preparedness can only go so far, as Scarecrow needles him, and Batman stumbles hallucinating into Crime Alley. The 2 spells of possession were broken up by an issue in the comic, but here, placed next to each other, makes the first half of the film feel unbalanced. As I mentioned in the comics, Bruce was shown to be aware during Ivy's possession, but during the Scarecrow's hallucination, he's completely cut off from the reader, showing the strength of the fear toxin and just how lost Bruce is. In the film, they're just 2 different flavours of the same sort of thing. In the comic, Bruce has been targeted by Dent and Gordon due to his historical connection to Falcone, and the police chase him across the city to his mother's grave in a cemetery. In the film, Batman instead goes to Crime Alley, the film pulling a bit of a bait and switch, where it seems to get ready to show the Wayne family murder, only for the reveal that it's just a similar looking family. Come to think of it, very similar to what the opening of Batman 89 did. Bruce is put on trial but let off through testimony of Alfred, and according to an increasingly frustrated Harvey, Bruce's high standing in society. Harvey vents to Gilda, sharing that he visited his father in a mental hospital and was gifted a two-headed coin. In the film, this coin was shown to belong to Carmine, who gave it to a young Bruce during a flashback to the time Thomas Wayne patched Carmine up, and Batman gave the coin to Harvey in movie 1. A difference in victim arrives on the 4th of July, as the city's coroner is murdered by Holiday in the comics, while in the animation, it's an assassin sent to kill Harvey Dent, who was left to be framed for the murder. Carla Vitti, Carmine Falcone's sister from Chicago, has been working to avenge the death of her son, Johnny Vitti, and nephew, Alberto. She's murdered by Holiday when searching for evidence from the slain coroner, but this vengeance is entirely missing from the animation, and she's left dead in Carmine's elevator. While the large beats of the comic story were changed for the animation, I find the changes in the moment-to-moment writing more irritating, with characters simplified, even dumbed down. Comic Harvey is pushed to the limit, and it puts an unspoken strain on his relationship with wife Gilda, who vents to Jim's wife Barbara. The animation just resorts to Harvey calling Gilda a bitch in his head.
Ungrateful bitch.
Classy. Calendar Man shows a fascination with dates that is disregarded for him being mocked with Taco Tuesday.
And the 305th of this miserable leap year. And... Taco Tuesday.
Swearing is included in the final act, and it's really quite embarrassing to see. It's like they're trying so hard to be edgy.
Come on, you mother...
Just pull the fucking trigger.
But the most out-of-nowhere utterance comes from the Penguin, who decides to call Batman a sanctimonious bastard during the movie's end fight. Fuck.
On guard, you sanctimonious shit!
After the death of his father, Sal Maroni hands himself over to Dent to give evidence in court, but it's all part of his scheme. Sal's inside man in the DA's office, Vernon, slips Maroni some antacid. In truth, it's actually a secret weapon. Vernon is absent from the movie, so Sal just has the antacid on hand, ready to douse it in Dent's face. The scene somehow manages to not be the most awkward depiction of the iconic scene on film. Not to criticise it, but this moment in the Arkham VR game when Harvey is doused by the acid, it's like, why is it so slow? It's so fucking creepy, man. Sorry for swearing. The scarred Harvey escapes hospital, stabbing a doctor in the comic, and eventually makes his way to the sewers. The movie has Dent with two of Carmine's thugs who try to whack him, and Dent is swept away. I guess we really needed to see how he got down to the sewers, eh? When I first saw this scene, I did see the guys had a gun each, and I kind of wondered, I wonder if Harvey's gonna overpower them and, he'll come away with two guns, as per the classic writing in Arkham City.
2 guns, bitch!
That didn't go that way. Comic Solomon Grundy is calmed by a scarred Dent in the sewers, with the poem he takes his name from, while the giant zombie of the film just recites it himself. Without this connection in the movie, I'm not too sure how Dent convinced him to work together, as the two attack Sal's prisoner transfer, and Two-Face is revealed. Sal is slain by Holiday, and the heat seems to be off Harvey, who slips away. Jim has concluded that Harvey must have been Holiday, while Batman refuses to believe that the man he made the deal with the year prior is responsible, despite his fall from grace since. Finding evidence of metal shavings in Dent's basement, suggesting Harvey was filing serial numbers off the Holiday pistols, does little to reassure him. But Gilda pleads with Bats to find Harvey. I'm going to give a spoiler warning here for the reveal of the Holiday killers, especially for the comic. The Long Halloween comic is a wonderful, if grim, story with fantastic art from Tim Sale that brings such personality to the characters of Gotham. While I've made my distaste for the movie known, I guess it can hold up in isolation. It did so for me back in 2021 when the comic was just a distant memory. As ever, comparison is the thief of joy, and the hope that this story could get a proper, faithful adaptation in terms of story and art style. Watching the film first will not spoil the reading experience as the two stories are so different, which begs the question as to why they adapted it when they're going to change it. Fans of the original don't need to be surprised, you're just going to aggravate them. In the comic, Sal is murdered during a prisoner transfer, and Holiday's identity is revealed: Alberto Falcone. Seemingly killed back on New Year's Eve, Batman tries to finish the job, but relents and apprehends him. Carmine pleads with his son to confess only to Maroni's killing, but Alberto confesses his reasons for being Holiday: bitterness at being left out of the family business, resentment at his birthday being ignored by his father. Good enough justification for a comic villain to destroy his entire family. Quite different from the softer portrayal done by Jack Quaid in Part 1. Oh yeah! Having such an actor as Jack Quaid in film feels like it'd be really cool to have in this review scene. Nope. Movie Alberto is definitely dead. Talk about a waste. The Gordons visit Gilda to console her, before Harvey frees the criminals from Arkham, bar Calendar Man, to converge on Falcone's penthouse. Gilda's only scene at this point in the film is her under protection from the police. Two-Face is revealed in all his glory here. In the comic, it gets a full page. The design is horrific, moving away from the typical clean split design, with a monstrous face and crazy hair, and this feels as though it was pretty influential on the later released The Dark Knight and Arkham City. Interestingly, Catwoman is present with the villains to confront Carmine, but she joins Batman in fighting them in the film. Dent shoots Carmine, and an anguished Sophia, tussling with Catwoman, falls from the window. The movie seeming to be more definitive about her fate. Carmine of the movie gets a few extra moments to live, to seemingly identify Selina's mother when he sees her, confirming the familial connection. And Dent slips away. He executes Vernon in the DA's office and hands himself over to Gordon and Batman on the GCPD's roof. He confesses to all the Holiday killings in the film, while in the comic, he cryptically suggests there were 2 killers. This confuses Gordon, as they already have Alberto's confession. Batman deduces that Harvey must consider himself to be the second Holiday for killing Carmine. The comic thematically ties back to Bruce's first words in the comic, all the way back in issue 1. I believe in Gotham City. Words then echoed by Jim to Barbara after the horror has ended. I believe in Batman. And after Gilda's confession to herself as she packs her empty house, revealing herself to be Holiday just so she and Harvey could be together. I believe in Harvey Dent. It's so heavy and neatly ties the story together. The film offers an explanation that is superficially identical, that Gilda was Holiday but for an all-new reason. Her true love was Alberto Falcone, and their marriage was annulled and baby terminated on Carmine's orders. Good enough justification for an animated villain to destroy an entire family. But why change it from the original? The animated Long Halloween is an exercise in frustration for me, that one of my favourite Batman comic stories is changed so dramatically, in the moment-by-moment dialogue to the larger plot beats, to the sterilisation of the art, the boring music, the poor editing. In the greater scheme of things, it doesn't matter. The comic still exists. The movie is okay to new viewers, too lazy to read. Reading is a better use of your time than the absurd 3 hours it takes to watch these films. All the actors, Jensen Ackles as Batman, Billy Burke as Jim Gordon, Josh Duhamel as Harvey Dent, Naya Rivera in her final role as Catwoman, Julie Nathanson as Gilda, they all do amazing work across these films. It's just a shame it wasn't for the original story. Thank you for watching. I'm Royce Pentaghast. You can find me on Instagram at Pentaghast_Royce, where I'll be posting some of my artwork I made for this production. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.